So let's review linking, and then we're gonna review what we've learned in word stress patterns and then learn some more. So we've learned that linking vowels with an off glide, right? So English speakers link words together in natural speech. The first sound of one word often connects with the final sound of one word often connects with the first sound of the next word, with no pause between words, right? So we agree usually sounds like one word, we agree. So that's with the Y off glide, like E, I, or A. Those words that end in these vowels will link with the E off glide. So we agree. I often say a lot, right? So let's practice that. So say it. I am. Stay away. Pay us. Cry out. See everything. Okay, and then we learned linking vowels with the off glide W, right? Oo. When the vowel sounds O, ow, or oo link with the following vowel, the sounds are connected with the off glide oo. So, for example, please go on. Go on. How about it? And I knew it. Knew it, right? Okay. And we also learned word stress patterns, right? So every English word has a stress pattern. Because English listeners recognize a word by the stress, using the correct pattern is even more important than using the correct sounds. So if you say a word using its correct stress pattern, it is easier for other people to understand you, even if you do not get every sound exactly right. And we learned the stress rule for two-syllable words. Except for verbs, two-syllable words are stressed on the first syllable 90% of the time. So that means not verbs, means nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. Right, so these are words which are stressed on the first syllable. And we learned the stress rule for words that end in shun, right? So stress rule for the shun ending, for words that end in shun, the stress syllable comes just before the shun ending. It's like prediction, right? Or just before the shun. And stress rule for words that end in ik or equal, right? So words like Atlantic, majestic, right? So in these words, the stress syllable comes just before the ik ending. And for equal, right, so words like economical, technological, again, the stress syllable comes just before the equal ending, right? Great. Okay, let's have a look at pronouncing two clear vowels together. Sometimes when two vowels are next to each other in a word, they're actually separate syllables. In that case, both vowels are clear. Notice, so for example, in biology, the I and the O are both clear. So it's biology, I-O. So notice the dot between the two vowels. So that's a dot. This dot separates the syllables. Usually the second clear vowel has the stress, so it is longer. Okay, so let's practice these. So repeat after me. Biology. Reality. Create. Piano. Geography. Recreation. Reaction. Geology. association. Okay, so in all these words, the two vowels next to each other, like here IA or EO, they're both pronounced clearly. Okay. Finally, we're going to look at stress in two-syllable nouns and verbs. So the following two-syllable words have a noun form and a verb form. Okay, so you can see that they're both spelled the same. The noun form and the verb form are spelled the same, but the pronunciation will be different because of the different stress. So I'm going to read them, and then we'll see what is the rule for the noun and the verb. So this one's pronounced record, record, and this one is pronounced record. The noun here is pronounced object, and the verb form is pronounced object. The noun form here is permit, and the verb permit. The noun suspect, and the verb form suspect. Next, import, import. Rebel, rebel. Present, present. Conflict, conflict. Insult and insult. Okay, so you may have noticed that all of these ones are stressed on the first syllable, and all of these ones are stressed on the second syllable. So all the noun, right? So what's the rule, right? Well, as you would predict, the stress rule, when a two-syllable word can be used as either a noun or a verb, the verb form is usually stressed on the second syllable, right? So the noun will be usually stressed on the first syllable, and the verb will be usually stressed on the second syllable. So that's a very useful thing to know. So we're gonna do a quiz. All right, so we're looking at this quiz, and I'm gonna read the word, and you have to decide whether it's a noun or a verb. So just remember the rule, right? If it's a noun, it's stressed on the first syllable, and if it's a verb, it's stressed on the second syllable. So number one is contract, contract. Number two is export, export. Next, progress, progress. 4, reject, reject. 5, transport, transport. 6, present, present. 7, conflict, conflict. 8, convert, convert. Okay, and click submit, and we'll be done.